I'm very disappointed that we're here today voting on this nomination, especially in light of the testimony that we heard just yesterday. It is the Republicans who have refused to talk to Debbie Ramirez or Julie Swetnick. Ironically, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have gone so far as to say this whole situation was nothing more than a nefarious attempt at political theater. I understand why they did that. The Senate is a political body. However, I was shocked to see Judge Kavanaugh take the same tone and strategy. Candidly, in the 25 years on this committee, I have never seen a nominee for any position behave in that manner.
If there is a motion from a minority, I would recognize that motion first.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to subpoena Mark Judge as a witness before our committee.
Okay.
We have a responsibility to subpoena, at the very least, Mark Judge before we move to vote. It is our constitutional duty to do everything we can to uncover the truth. After hearing yesterday that compelling testimony from Dr. Blasey Ford, we cannot in good conscience vote without hearing at least from Mark Judge.
The answer is no.
Mr. Graham.
And it is no substitute for testimony before this committee.
Mr. Lee. Mr. Cruz. Mr. Sass. Mr. Flake. Mr. Crapo. Mr. Tillis.
No.
Mr. Kennedy.
No.
Mrs. Feinstein.
Aye.
Mr. Leahy.
Aye.
Mr. Durbin.
Aye.
Mr. Whitehouse.
Aye.
Ms. Klobuchar. Aye. Mr. Coons.
Aye.
Mr. Blumenthal.
Aye.
Ms. Hirono.
Aye.
Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Ms. Harris. Aye. Mr. Chairman.
No.
Mr. Chairman, the votes are 10 yeas, 11 nays.
The motion is defeated. Now I move, as I said I was going to do, that we set the vote to report out Judge Kavanaugh's nomination at 1:30 p.m. today.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
The president's hands were tied once the Judiciary Committee issued the request over to the White House for the president to ask the FBI to open up a, quote, supplemental investigation into Judge Brett Kavanaugh's background. The president didn't really have much choice, so that's when we got the statement from Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, which said, I've ordered the FBI to conduct a supplemental investigation to update Judge Kavanaugh's file. As the Senate has requested, this update must be limited in scope and completed in less than 1 week. And that's where the argument really is going to come down here. Limited in scope. How do you limit the scope? What will the scope be limited to? The request from the Judiciary Committee was for all current credible allegations to be investigated. Now, does that limit it just to Christine Blasey Ford? Does that include Deborah Ramirez? Does that include Michael Avenatti's client? I think that the White House and Republicans will argue that this is limited only to the Christine Blasey Ford allegations, in which case you would interview her, you would interview the Judge Kavanaugh, you would interview the other judge, Mark Judge, and other people who were said to be at that party. And now remember, this is not a criminal investigation, first of all. They're not investigating an alleged crime that happened some 36 years ago. This is merely collecting background information, and it does not come to any kind of conclusion. Any conclusion on the information contained would have to be made by either the White House or the Senate. In this case, it's already gone through the Judiciary Committee, so it'll be the full Senate that has to consider all of this. Judge Brett Kavanaugh also released a statement this afternoon saying, quote, throughout this process, I've been interviewed by the FBI. I've done a number of background calls directly with the Senate, and yesterday I answered questions under oath about every topic the senators and their counsel asked me. I've done everything they have requested and will continue to cooperate. Geraldo said just a short time ago, this is war, and he's absolutely correct about this. After what has gone on with this nominee, it is now all-out war between Republicans and Democrats. I was talking to a prominent Republican political operative just a short time ago who told me, wait until the next seat in the Supreme Court comes up. Maybe it's a Ruth Bader Ginsburg or somebody like that. And rather than following tradition of nominating a more liberal judge, the president may go for the hardest core conservative that he can find to fill that position. So, Geraldo, you're right. This is political war here in Washington.
Thank you, John.